day, brethren. The good captain here from CapnsKustomWorks, back with another episode of my Beery reviews. So hopefully you're all able to tolerate the high definition, rapidly auto-zooming camera that we're going with at this point in time, because that's just plain what we're going to have to use. And I don't want to drink all these beers without telling you what I'm thinking about them. So I'm pretty excited today. I actually just went to what you'll all know by now is my favorite local destination for fine brews, Woodman's, employee-owned groceries. And I picked up quite a few, well, I picked up a good-sized handful of some very exciting-looking beers, and I'm going to be very pleased to share the majority of them with you. The one I've chosen for today is Lagunitas Equinox. Lagunitas kind of holds a special place in my heart. I just really tend to like what these guys do. They're fun. They focus on having fun, which is what beer should be all about. And I love that. You know, anybody that says our public face is going to be about having a good time and not being afraid to be silly and write goofy things on their labels and whatnot. I mean, I'm all about that. That appeals to me right away. Plus, the beer tends to be quite good, at least in my opinion. This is their Equinox, like I said. This is a genuine pale oat ale, it says, which sounds fun. And it commemorates its original brewing, which was in 1995. Way back when. I'm very, very old. This is an 8%, which isn't the sternest beer as far as Lagunitas goes. They tend to make some pretty stern beers. And it's got an original gravity of 1.078, which is funny, because it's not really of great value to anyone drinking it to know that. It's got an IBU of 50, so it's, you know, it's got some bitterness to the taste. Amusingly enough, some of you may know, and some of you may not, IBUs, although those are the international bittering units, which I think the U.S. is about the only people that use, because we like to call things international when we're the only ones that do them. I think everybody else uses the European system. But the IBU doesn't actually tell you how bitter a beer tastes, per se. It tells you about how bitter it ought to be because of hops and stuff, but lots of other stuff comes into play regarding the actual taste of a beer. So IBU is a rough guideline. I'm excited to pour this off, so we're going to do that in my favorite Arkham pint glass. Looks good. Not a vast amount of head on that. Nice and fizzy. It is, like it says, a pale oat ale, and it's kind of American-y, American-esque. Look at that, it's got a nice light amber color, and, you know, a fizzy head, not foamy, not real dense. This is the kind of thing I think if you handed this beer to anyone at, you know, your regular corner bar, you handed them a glass of this, they wouldn't think twice about it. They just say, cool, the beer. You know, just by the appearance. I spoke to a guy just the other day. In fact, it was kind of funny. He said, if I can't see through the glass, I don't want to drink that beer. I don't share that precise opinion, as I'm sure most of you know, unless this is your first time watching my channel, and if so, then why are you starting in the middle of the series, in which case you should go away. Don't go away. I'm messing with you. Just go back to the beginning, and then come back here. You know. So we're going to taste this, because this is exciting. Oat is something that's not overly common in a beer, and I've had some that are pretty darn tasty, and I've had some that are like, well, that was just an excuse to say you did something different with the beer. But coming from Lagunitas, I have a feeling that it's probably going to be fairly tasty, so we're going to taste it. I have to just say some things after one sip. I think if somebody handed me this, I might be able to tell it came from Lagunitas. Just right off the bat. They've got a flavor that seems to be consistent across a lot of their brews. I'm not saying their brews all taste the same by any means, but I'm saying that there's a flavor that one can detect that makes it taste like them. I had last week hanging out with one of my good buddies, and he said, I brought some Rhinelander back from Wisconsin. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, have one of these. I said, all right, I haven't had a Rhinelander in quite a while, and I cracked it open and took a swig, and I said, yeah, that tastes like Rhinelander. It's got a flavor, and Lagunitas, they've got that note. I think they might be most renowned, or at least I've seen in this area, what most people stock is some of their IPAs, their classic IPA to start with, and they don't call it classic IPA. I think they just call it IPA, but they've done several IPAs that seem to get distribution around here, and some of their less well-distributed stuff you've got to go to good places like Woodman's to try to get. But if you know them from their IPAs and you tasted this, I think you might still be able to say, oh yeah, that's got that flavor of Lagunitas. It's not a bad flavor at all. It's a beery flavor. It's a very beery flavor. Not to get too deep into it, because we'll go into some of their brews later, but I find it to be somewhat reminiscent of how a lot of what Stone does just captures that beery flavor. It's not the same flavor. There's definitely a note that's distinguishable, but that kind of flavor profile, if you're a beer lover, I think that this tastes like a beer in the way that a beer tastes like a loaf of bread. You know, the grain comes through, but there's just something that's consistent across their brews that lends that note to it that one can pick up on. I'm rambling at great length because I do that, and because I'm kind of excited about this beer. It is quite good. There's not as much oatiness as I maybe expected, honestly. It's there, but it's not as prominent as I would have expected. Not necessarily bad, but I might have wanted a little more of it, just because I was excited to taste it. Overall, very good. Did they say anything else interesting that I missed on this label? Their labels are full of interesting things. And this is one of those that you can barely read because it's written in a lot of gibberish, which is cool. Like I said, they're fun people. They also remind you how to say their name on every label. So if you can't say Lagunitas, then it's not their fault. I'm going to try to stop my rambling now, as difficult as that is. And I'm going to put away this beer, because we all know that's the part that you guys like watching anyway, right? Watching me drink a beer in ridiculous fast motion. I like watching it. to regular speed here. I've just drank almost that entire beer. It was still quite good. I feel like the oatiness came out a little more as I drank the beer. So that's interesting. Interesting characteristic. Oats aren't such a hugely dissimilar grain that they just jump right out at you, you know. It's not like a rye. Drinking a rye or something, it's like, oh, you can taste that. This was, you know, that part of the flavor was mild-ish. I'm not saying the flavor on a whole was mild, but the oats were remarkably subtle compared to what I had expected. Like I said, that's not necessarily bad, just not what I was expecting. On the other hand, I don't know if maybe it should have been bolder. Maybe it was just great as it was. Because it does have that taste, that Lagunitas note to it, I kind of feel like maybe if the oats were more prominent, maybe it would have clashed a little more. Maybe it wouldn't have been as well-rounded. I think a lot of their flavor is due to their hops is how it feels to me, and it might not have worked as well if there was a little more oat flavor. I don't know. Just an opinion. Just trying to come up with how to work around this in my head here. All in all, it was a good beer. It was interesting. Might not be one of the more memorable beers that Lagunitas has done. Just from my own opinion. They've done a lot of great ones that are, I think, really, really good. And this one is, you know, it's a very good, solid beer. You know, the flavor is good. I think that most people would find this perfectly enjoyable. If you like beers, this is probably very darn decent. Probably not one of the top handful of the offerings from Lagunitas. But overall, quite good. This is a beer I think you could be proud to share with any of your buddies. No problem. Or sit back like me and slam it all down yourself like a crazy person in a garage. Why not? So that being said, thank you guys. Thanks to the good folks at Lagunitas. They include a phone number on all their bottles, by the way, which I think is excellent. And all the times I've been tempted to call it, and I never yet have. So who knows? I might now. Now I got a reason. Now I'm not just a weirdo. Now I'm a weirdo with a camera. So thanks to all of you guys for putting up with me. It's not the beer why I'm laughing. This is only 8%. I'm just a funny guy. Thank you all very much. Please continue to like / comment / share / semicolon and or subscribe if you feel like you really want to subject yourself to more of this nonsense. And I'll keep drinking beers regardless. That's my promise to you guys. So thanks for being with me as always. I look forward to hearing your thoughts, particularly if you've tried this brew, or if you've got any suggestions for anything I should do in the future, or if you just want a friend. We'll speak to you all very, very soon. Much love.